Hello and welcome to the RTO show. I'm your host, Pete Chow. Today we're going to come to you Christmas week. We have a little bit of time this time to kind of remember what's going on in the world and also give you a show and kind of tell you how to do it behind the scenes. I have a great interviewee today, but as I'm talking to you guys, I just want to say thank you for being with us this year. It's been a great year. It's been a spectacular time to see you, to see your family, and everything that's going on at Rent to Own. We appreciate it here at the RTO show. Now, getting down to it, my main man, my guest, the guy I haven't been able to really get on the show in years. Side note, he is probably one of the main reasons that I'm still here doing this. We'll get into that because there's some backstory on that one. So, Steven Stahl, hey, I got to know, you do this for a living.
I do.
I'm going to make you rate this show later. I
don't know if I want to rate my own show, like when I do something. So
he's gonna rate.
I definitely don't want to rate me being on your show.
No. We'll definitely burn you next year. I'm talking about you. So, Steven, listen, man. First off, thank you for being here.
Yeah, man. I'm glad.
You are the best, dude. I love you, man. There's so much backstory that we'll get into. We
got a lot of history,
It's been a ride.
Yeah.
It's been a ride. And I've been telling Steven, I said, listen, I got to introduce you to the RTO world, as we do this. And I'm like, how the hell hasn't it not happened yet? Like, how has it not happened?
Yeah, I have no idea, man.
All these shows, all the crazy things. Listen, if you guys
it's been 3 years of heart surgery. So, I'm finally on the other side of it.
We're finally on the mend, right?
You were like, hey, can I get you on a podcast? I'm like, well, I'm going to be in surgery for a little while. So
yeah. Well, listen, he's part of EssToo Creative. Now, listen, EssToo Creative is probably one of the best things that's ever happened to me. I'm going to hope it happens to you too. It's veteran based. This is the owner here. He works with actors, does a lot of producing, a lot of things that you might need for your situation. But I'm going to let him explain it. Where did EssToo come out? Now, you just said something that I actually didn't know. So we're green rooming this, and I just found out it might have come from your sergeant here.
Yeah. So it comes a little bit in my background. Yeah.
So where does it come from? You're a veteran. We appreciate all your service.
Hey,
where did it come from?
You were worth it. Most veterans have no idea. And I heard somebody years ago when they said, people say thank you for your service. And I'm like, and I heard him say it and I was like, ooh, I'm going to pick that up. So I was like, yeah, you were worth it.
We did it.
Yeah. Together. So like I was telling you earlier, I had a drill sergeant, she asked me a question and you didn't know how to pronounce my last name. So I told her it was like, Cal, but Stahl, remove the C, add an ST. So she called me Stahl Cal forever. That drove me nuts. And it stuck for a little while, but it kind of went away. And then my last name is Stahl. My first name is Steven. So it's an S, two S's. And so
I was thinking that.
And then it was, I was on the intel side of things for the military. So military intelligence, which is, a brigade and below is an S2. And so it just kind of all stuck together. So, and then I have, 5 siblings. And so they're all S's. And so when people would look at me, they would say, oh, hey, are you an S2? And I would go, I am also an S. Yes.
Okay.
And
okay.
so,
Wait. The question is, are you the second S?
I am the second S.
Dude, that's sick.
I have an older sister, Stacy, and so I'm the second S.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
so it fits all the way around.
Yeah. So it's a bit of a whole thing. So EssToo Creative. Somebody asked me yesterday. It was like, is the S too creative? Like, is it also creative or is it just too much creative?
Too creative at what you do?
And I would go, depending on the day, it might be. So,
well, if you guys ever see what we've gotten ourselves into, you might be asking that question too. Is this too creative? I don't think so, but we had a good time.
I don't know if you can be too creative.
Well, what you have this military intelligence background, and I swear that if I heard that, like if I said, this is a military guy, this guy's a veteran, he's done it for a long time. It wasn't like a 4-year stint. You were in it for a long time.
So yeah, overseas. I did 6 years in the Army, overseas deployments and all that kind of stuff, and then did another 14 DOD. So working with Army, Air Force, Navy, Marines, stuff like that.
So I would never thought in my lifetime that I would be laughing with a guy who has 20 years of military experience and military intel experience and the things that you might know, right? Don't kill me. But I'm just saying, how did video production come from that?
It's so wild because I've always been a bit of a creative on the other side of things, and, in college, I, was fascinated with theater and stuff like that. And then as I got older and I just certain amounts of creativity have always been part of who I am. Yeah. And so like anytime there was something creative or a solution that needed to be found, I was a creative solutioneer. And so it just kind of lent itself to kind of progressing. And then I got into working with nonprofits over time, and then they needed something, and then somebody needed something. And so that was kind of like taking some of my experience with the government and going, oh, I can build you a website. Oh, I can do this. Oh, I can do that. And so that led into all of these different creative outlets that I was able to do, not just with the government and military, but also in my civilian life, helping nonprofits and helping, things, people that were struggling and stuff to get their stuff off the ground.
Problem solving.
Yeah. Basically creative problem
with
solving.
With a smile, problem solving
absolutely.
With a smile. I got this.
And so that's kind of how it is, and so, that led to really cool opportunities. Years into my government service, we were doing a roast of a favorite general. He was unbelievably awesome. He was one of the greatest generals I've ever worked with, and for. And somebody wanted to roast him really well, and they were like, "How do you do that?" And I'm like, "Well, you can control it. You can control the funny if you do it on video." And so we filmed these guys. All of the film has been since destroyed. All of the DVDs, there's nothing that exists anymore. But we delivered something that was utterly hilarious, and I was fascinated. I was completely 100% in, and I was like, ooh, video is a really cool thing. And, this is decades ago. And so
it's all been redacted. It's 100% redacted.
It is 100% redacted now.
It's funny. So wow. Because I went on to the EssToo Creative YouTube page. Mm-hmm. I'm looking at some of the stuff. I see, the volleyball video where the girls were just like intense, and I don't know how you get those young girls to be intense, but it was awesome.
Well, if you look at all the B-roll, they're all, they stay in a serious moment for about 2 seconds. And then it's like, that was hilarious.
Well, I think that's one of the biggest problems that we have right now is making our videos. It's like, can you?
Yeah, when you and I work together, it's like most of it's B-roll. Yeah, most of it's like outtakes and stuff. Yeah,
regular rolls, B-roll. Yeah. That's the way it is. So, as you're doing that, just the differences and all the things that you're able to do, you do it very well. What do you do now? Because EssToo Creative is not 100% of what you do. You also do some other stuff.
I do. My main gig, if you will, is I'm a communications director for a local church, and just basically do exactly what I do in my side hustle. I guess you could call it a side hustle, but I do both of those things, and so they all have to do with the same thing. They all have to do with web, graphic design, logo design, creative development, social media. All of it kind of has to do in the same sphere. So it's been a cool thing. God kind of gifted me this way, and so I now use it to do all kinds of other cool stuff to help my family. So
absolutely, absolutely. Well, listen, you guys know that I do everything rent to own. All those things that he just checked off is something that I know that we need very much so in the rent-to-own space. We've talked about that 100 times.
We have very much so.
We always, and listen, I'm not knocking the guys with the cell phone out there who are kind of doing the 5-second video.
Hey man, you know what? There's no shame in that game. You gotta, you gotta do both sides. It's good to do both.
But it's also good to put it together, get some brainstorming, and get a good set out there. Yeah, whether you're going to do a 30-second, whether you're going to do a 60-second, get it behind in YouTube ads, put a little bit of Google money behind it. I'm just saying, and really extend your stretch.
Yeah, I mean, that's where we really saw stuff with our first couple of gigs together.
Yes,
was working with Amber Lee, making sure that not only were we filming quality, hilarious content. I thought. I mean, people used to ask me what I did, and I was like, I make stupid videos, and and I'm like, they're like dumb, and I'm like, no, I think they're brilliant, but like they're silly, like they're just silly videos, and our mantra in those for those years was, Pete'll do it. And the amount of times that I would go, I can get Pete to do that.
Oh, look, you guys got to go to the YouTube page. Look at EssToo Creative. It's EssToo Creative, and take a look at their page.
If you like Pete, look, I just go right to the camera here. I'm not trying to ignore the camera. I'm not normally in the front of the camera, but if you like Pete and you want to make fun of Pete, go see some of the old videos that we did with Pete and Rent King, because to me, they are comedy gold. And if not, you can at least take screenshots, send them to him, and and insult him on a deep level. Say, I saw you acting a fool.
Well, it is out there. There was a learning curve between the first video and the last. I will tell you, it was a definite curve. You know what? I got to touch on this because I don't know how many people remember this. I remember the first video we did. Denny had just lost his voice. He was the night before he lost his voice. And we are just like, what did you do? So he's trying to speak at the top of his lungs, which is about a 20 on the dial.
Right.
And we're going through this. And I just cannot remember my lines. I cannot remember the lines.
Dude, you are the worst at remembering lines. Like you might be the worst.
So as far as terrible goes, I am on that list. And so Danny's there and he's talking to me and I'm like, dude, I can't remember what the hell I'm supposed to say. So he's standing in front of me and I'm like, where's the camera going to be at? Well, it's coming in this way. And I'm like, dude.
Yeah.
Boom. When I put my entire script on his chest and nobody knows this.
That's right. I totally forgot that you did that. You taped it to his chest and you were like, I'm just going to read directly. I'm just going to read off your breast. That's so hilarious.
You guys got to see the scene. I'm sitting down in a chair and he's looking at me, standing over me. And Anthony, the producer over there, I know you're thinking it's crazy, but listen, you got to do what you got to do, right? So he's over the shoulder shot, and I'm just like literally reading this off his chest. But it was so much fun.
Don't worry, I almost strangled you that day, so it was cool. I was glad we became friends afterwards.
It was a trial by fire.
It was definitely trial by fire.
That was our first rent-to-own video. We hadn't done it before that.
Yeah.
And honestly, it kicked off something that I thought made a huge difference. We actually killed it during that time frame.
I think that video got 70 or 80,000 views.
It did.
And then Amber Lee was running it in the stores too, which was just phenomenal. Yes. So I mean, they just created content on content.
It was beautiful because not only did it allow us to understand a little bit of what we had been doing versus what we could be doing, but the differences made it was like there's a script. We have something to say. There's a go-to point. There's something that we're trying to get at. We're gonna talk about this ad in this way. We're gonna mention it. We're gonna have funny so that there's a reason to get from point A to point B. Not just, I'm watching the same guy say the same
it's just
thing.
shoving content. Like people wonder why certain things don't do well. But if I stand in front of a chair and go, buy this chair, then I mean, what is the likelihood that you're going to stay around long enough to even hear about the qualities of the chair? But if I set you on fire and put you near the chair, then people are at least going to hang out long enough to kind of see whatever we're doing. And so, I mean, there's there have been several different, marketing companies that have done really well with this over the time. And I think we all, recognize this is beautiful because we use great story to tell and push great content and push great products. But you don't want to just shove product, because if you're shoving product, people get bored with that. People have got that in their face all the time. But if you tell a good story, then they're willing to hear you out.
Well, every time that I catch myself in the middle of the night watching like an ad for some kind of new medicine that's going to give me 35 different problems, and they're all having fun and they're eating dinner and it has nothing to do with the bowel movement they're going to have.
Absolutely. They're like involuntary, spontaneous bowel evacuation.
Yes,
if you experience this, then you're pretty much on track with what everybody else experiences.
Right. But have a great day.
And everybody's just waving. Like you're like the people taking the medicine are in the toilet. So,
you can't see them. Hi, I'm Pete Chow. You may know me from the RTO Show podcast, but today I'm doing something a little bit different. Apro and Wow Brands have launched a special project to bring the story of our industry to life like never before. They've asked me to sit down with some of the true legends of rent-to-own, capturing their stories, their impact, and their vision for the future. And now I get to share those conversations with you straight from the legends themselves. All of this leads to something groundbreaking, though. A new book, The Rent-to-Own Revolution, A Definitive History of Advocacy and Consumer Access, written by Apro CEO Charles Smitherman and Wow Brands CEO Brian Krass. The book explores the grassroots of RTO, the advocacy that has defined it, and the future that we're building together. Here's where you come in. We're giving away free copies once the book is released. Just head over to the RTOrevolution.com and sign up for a chance to receive a copy in early 2026. Don't miss the chance to be among the first to hold this piece of RTO history. That's RTOrevolution.com. Check it out and become a part of RTO history. What is the difference? Because this is always important to me. Because I didn't know about this kind of creation that we had and what we had gone through. And I got to say, I have to thank you for what we went through because it was a great time. I didn't go through it and go, God, this guy sucks. And then we did ours and I'm like, oh, I love it. It was like, we hit it off up front.
We really, I really think that a great relationship just lends itself so beautifully to really good content. I think if you, like, as you and I were building our relationship and our friendship, I mean, like the second video we did together was just that much funnier.
Phenomenally
better. It was, we had a blast. Just to me, it's because the creative process really gets flowing. I'm a hyperkinetic thinker. And so like, I'm always like, oh, we could do this and then we could do this. So it's good to have a plan in place because, you know, like otherwise you kind of wander off the rails. But when we built our plan, we sat in that upstairs office and just mapped out what 4 videos or 3 videos.
I'm going to have to upload that and actually attach it to the bottom of this video at some point. But like, what's the difference? Because I didn't know this stuff. What's the difference between regular retail ad creation and what we did for RTO? Because I remember at first you were like, this is a little bit different from the norm of what you do because we're not really selling it. Now, we can sell it, but
normally the excuse me, I'm going to lean forward here.
Get closer, baby. Get closer.
Do it.
We just need a piece of spaghetti. I'm just saying.
Yes, a little Lady and the Tramp for an RTO podcast.
There we go.
No, like the you know, most of the stuff that, I mean, honestly, I mean, the whole thing is hilarious because Amber Lee contacted me and said, look, I can't partner with you. Like, there's no way my budget is like $12.
Right.
And I was like, okay. And she goes, do you have anybody that costs $12? And I was like, well, I've got an intern and he's really
Sergio,
gifted.
right.
Yeah. And so Sergio, incredibly talented, but he wasn't going to do it. And I said, look, she can't afford it, but if I'm mentoring you, then I'll do it for free.
Yeah.
And so I show up that day and then I'm like, you know, make sure he gets paid a good wage or something. And then we started building really solid content. And I was like, okay, if I'm going to keep coming back, then you're going to have to push this over to EssToo Creative. But I think we had proven how well the content could go. And so it became worth the greater and greater investments.
Well, listen, just so you guys know, you always need a hook and you always need something. And that thing was, Steven decided to ask us if, you know, this shot would be great if both you guys were in his bed. Is that an issue? Is that an issue if you guys are in the bed? And I think, you know, Dana and I were like, at the time I was thinking, I mean, I know me. I know. They're like, whatever. It actually became a running joke that we did some stuff on Instagram and we did some other stuff because I had many
you guys
people
were
ask
in
me.
like 7 different beds together.
Yes.
It was hilarious. But you were also under a couch and like, it was
great.
Yeah.
So we do this thing. And out of everything that was done, I've been asked about that bed scene quite a bit. So, but it was catchy. It was something that, like you said, you know, previously before we had talked, it's like, you need something to catch. You need something to grab. And it was like, oh my God, dude. And at that point in time, not that I'm saying anything, it was freaking hilarious. It was something that I never thought of. It was hilarious.
The marketing, I guess the marketing parlance is to say, you got to stop the scroll.
Right.
You know, I mean, we spend our lives doing this, right? And we wait until something catches our eye. And if it's not a cute kitten, then I'm probably still going, you know, I mean, or some weird political thing that's like, oh, this is going to make me angry.
Right.
But there are those moments when something jumps out and you're like, oh, funny. And so you'll stay and you'll hang out for a while. And so our idea is for every single customer or client that we have, it's trying to work with them to figure out what stops the scroll for people who might be interested in your stuff. And then what's gonna pull them in. We really want to invite them in. So creating that kind of relationship with you guys.
Well, how does it work? When you're talking about the creativeness, we're talking about this craziness, throw it against the wall. We did mention spaghetti.
We do throw spaghetti against the wall and see what sticks.
But so you go into this and somebody says, you know what? EssToo, Steven, like I want something to catch. I'm going to do a free till. I'm going to do buy one, get one. I'm going to do, hey, you know what? This is a low down payment because we know it's Christmas. Listen, we'll get you in the door. You get set up, take care of your family. We're about the payments later.
Yeah.
How do you get that creative juices going and say, this is my bland idea. How do you get it to go, I'm going to create 2 guys in a bed?
Wow. I mean, like, okay, well, one, the 2 guys in a bed. Okay. specifically you and Danny. And the reason why that was funny was not because two guys were in a bed, but it was because you two were in a bed.
Us two in the bed,
specifically. Right. And you could probably sense the weirdness wafting off of Danny. And so it created a beautiful awkwardness that I loved from the moment we were like, no, get under the covers.
We were not laying on top of the covers. As a matter of fact, the bed looks exactly plain, and then all of a sudden, it's two guys get up and they're talking about tax sales that have nothing to do with anything.
Was it Max Your Tax? Or was that Max Your Tax? That was Max Your Tax first one.
And we're talking, and we're just like, hey, what about this? And it's a great idea. Whoop.
But because you both put the sheet down and you sit up, and and Amber Lee ruined 3 shots of that, and Danny just kept, and he was turning more and more and more purple every scene. But that was almost
we kept the full purple scene. So, but where does that come from? And how do you put all these ideas together? So I'm John Doe rent to own, and I'm like, hey, Steven, you know what? I got a couple of guys who aren't afraid to be in front of the camera, but they just do the YouTube thing. They do like a Facebook or a TikTok or whatever, and they try to have fun with it. Right. But I need something I need to get behind. I need something that's got a little bit of juice for the squeeze. You're going to mention certain things that I know, some certain triggers. Hey, free till, get this now, low. You could package this in, show up product, but I don't want them gone in the first 5 seconds. So I need this catch and stuff. And you're going I got all these things. I got these checks now.
So we look at we do. So we take a look at what your checks are, and then we take a look at your environment. I try to meet with the we call it the talent, but I try to meet with the guys who are going to be in the video, and really try to tailor things to who those guys are. Because we did Major Freedom, and he's a good guy. He was a great guy, but he was also like the strong silent type. Yes. And so we tried to create something that was not that he, he was totally willing to speak, but I think it lent himself more to being strong and silent. And so we talked about, doing Rambo and putting the whole Rambo idea together because, we were going to do, something. Yeah. So, we just draw from what we're seeing, what is currently trending, but also we take a look at what works inside your environment, and we look for a silly hook. We look for something that's going to, kind of punch through the noise.
Yeah. James Harvey, we love you. We were just saying you are hella stoic, and we could see it in your face.
The most, and Marcus Aurelius could, I think he could give him a run for his money.
I think he could have just stood in. Nobody would have noticed. I love you, dude. I'm just letting you know.
For sure.
And so when we're doing that, and I love the idea of taking not just the idea, but of blending it with what's already there, because that really makes a huge difference. If I'm a little bit more, if I'm okay with talking about some silly stuff, that might be great. If I'm a little bit more straight leaning, then I might have you in a part versus the whole thing. And, talking about all that, sometimes they're flubs, right? There are things that are just don't go right. They're like, that's weird, but it works.
Not only does it work, but it also so I try to be, when we create, right, we have a plan, we have a script, we have stuff that's written down, but I also try to be ready for the moment. So if something is happening and I'm like, oh my God, that is hilarious, let's lean into that. Sometimes the video that we're shooting can take on a bit of a different texture, and that ends up being a really beautiful thing. How many times have we've shot all the content, and then I was like, we need wigs. We need wigs immediately.
Dude, half of the stuff that we did was seriously off rail. I'm going to be honest.
It was, but it was hilarious. The stuff great. We did but it was working together, but it was seeing it was seeing it develop inside the moment, and then having the patience in the moment to pursue it. And sometimes that takes a little bit of time, takes a little bit of tweaking and stuff. But when you can lean into it, you've got really great clients who can really lean into that moment or some of those things. I will say not every idea is a good idea.
He said it out loud. I was waiting for that to come.
There are times when clients are like, hey, what if we, and I go, that's awesome.
That is a bold idea.
That is bold and brave, but I don't necessarily know if that's in your budget or I don't know, I can't hang Pete off a helicopter. Because the budget wouldn't cover the safety guy.
Right.
So,
or the insurance.
I'm not telling you no, we can do it, but I know some, we can get into some real heavy stuff, but that stuff is.
The reason I bring it up is because there's a couple scenes in the world. I love watching things and learning. So when I'm on YouTube, besides watching our videos, I start tumbling on some stuff, and I'm like, there was a scene in Taxi where they're walking across the street. And I don't know if a lot of people know this, but the taxi that came up and almost hit him, and he hits the hood. He says, "Hey, watch it! I'm walking here."
Right? Yeah.
That is a
completely improv.
That's an improv scene.
Completely improv.
But they loved it so much because it was the heartbeat of New York as he's walking through there.
Oh,
it was totally left in. I mean, he could have got his legs crushed, and they're like, "That's a great thing,"
Well, I mean, like one of the greatest things in recent flub history is the Marvel movie with when Chris Pratt is handling
and he drops
ball,
it.
and he drops the ball and he picks it back up, but it was so in line with his character. So there was plenty of times when, I mean, do you remember when we were trying to get Danny to say 30 days?
30 days.
You know how Black Friday is just one day? Yeah, 30 days.
30.
Yes, 30 days.
So I'm watching that our Black Friday thing, right? And I was going through it, and I love that one because it's not long, it's straight to the point, but it was hilarious. And I played that scene 3 times last night because I was just like, I remember.
She took. It was 30 minutes of outtakes, and he's like, I'm like, how do you not hear what I'm saying? But he got so flustered, like he couldn't hear anything anymore. Like I'm sure his ears were ringing.
30 days,
like, 30 days,
30 days,
30 days, 30 days, 30 days. And so he just kept saying it. And I was like, Danny, breathe, man, get a donut.
Yeah. No, but so those things really help lend to it. And I would say if somebody,
but it's got to be fun. Like you want it to be fun. I mean, what we're doing, I mean, come on, we're making videos to help connect people with great product. I mean, like that's what we're doing. So why not enjoy it?
What's catchy, right? So let's say we leave a flub. It makes sense because the guys that we're going to be using, guys and gals, let me rephrase that, but the guys and gals that we're going to be using are in the industry. A lot of times we're not going to bring outside talent because we want people to come into the store and see the person that they saw in a video, right?
We brought in outside
and
talent.
we brought
too.
outside talent.
We've done both.
And it's going to be up to you guys whether you do it or not. But my thought is if you're trying to keep it in budget, you might want to use that. If they have a talented side, guys, let me warn.
Don't pick if you don't have talent, we can find somebody with talent. Yes.
We can sit them down for 30 minutes and explain rent to own. But the thing is like if they have talent, because there were a couple of times I'm like, dude,
there's some emergent talent out there that's really, really good, and I love finding organic talent. I do, but every once in a while, somebody will hand me someone and be like, "Here, this is the star," and I'm like, "Oh, awesome!" And I'm like, "We're gonna rewrite this script." He'd be like, "Why do they have no scenes?" So I'm not trying to be.
In the first Rocky, he only had so many dialogue lines. There was a reason for that. So we're gonna.
I mean, you try to grow into it, and sometimes it is you find emergent talent. Like Danny was really awkward in the first couple.
Yes.
But he really found his rhythm. So he really found his rhythm. So sometimes it just takes a little bit more experience, a little bit more time. So you try to deal it. I mean, like if you look at somebody who, goodness, I'm throwing things.
We're beating it up over here.
Once I'm getting more, you can see when I'm getting more kinetic, and he's like, "It's going to be $20,000. You broke my entire podcast studio just moving around."
Anthony's like, "Guys, what are you doing?"
Exactly. So growing that and allowing people to kind of step into it is I mean, like they just get comfortable over time. You watch it. A lot of people will be in like a Facebook video and they're like, "Hi, I'm Bob. This is a great chair. And you should come down and enjoy this chair. Every day is in this chair, and this chair is amazing, and chairs are awesome." And so you go, well, I mean, he's willing to be on camera, he's willing to be in front of the camera, but there's some things that we need to add to that to help him deliver to the camera better. I mean, even your social media, even the stuff that you and Danny were doing on a cell phone right before, like. It got so much better as you guys were exploring some of the sillier sides of who you were.
And I'm glad you said that because if you guys have people on video, let them explore that. Let them grow into their talent because we learned really quickly that it was almost like an Abbott Costello kind of thing. Like, there's a funnier side and there's a little bit of a serious side. And if you know who can play that part a little bit better, who naturally embodies what they're saying, hey, it might just be a better take, right?
Yeah.
Like this guy does it a little bit this way and this way. And we came up with it was the Christmas one where,
when we turned you into the
Yeah,
elf.
to the elf, right? So there
You're
was
like,
that one.
it's happening, it's happening, and then we turned you into an elf.
As an elf. Kick. But and then there was the one in the lake.
Yeah.
Right. So that
that was awesome. That was the first time I'd ever said Pete'll do it. And Amber Lee, we're in the production meeting, he's sitting down and trying to come up with some of the ideas for it. And she was like, well, and I looked over and I was like, Pete'll do it.
Pete'll do it.
And you're like, dude, you treaded water for a long time.
It was like an hour and a half.
I was like, put your feet down. And you're like, I'm not putting my feet in
I'm going
this
to tell you,
lake water.
I'm surprised that my name, my sergeant didn't give me socks as a name because I needed his socks. He gave me his socks. I'm just going to say
I took my socks off that day and I was like, fine, put these on. And then you tried to give them back and I was like, dude,
I was going to wash them.
they're lake socks.
I'll tell you what, I enjoyed making that video. Probably, it was hard. It was hard treading the water. It was hard seeing. It was hard to see that only lasted 1.5 seconds. But I loved it. I loved it. Yeah. And I think that also part of the creativity is getting your people behind it, right? So they can see what it takes to really put something out there. Because, as you're talking about big brands, and you talk about, a mattress firm, and you've got Macy's, and you got all these guys, there's not somebody standing in their store. Now, I'm not saying that's a bad thing because we're a lot smaller, our square footage is a little bit smaller. We do a lot of different things.
Yeah, you're just, different footprint.
But there's also that you need to be out there the right way. They need to be able to look at you and go, yes, I know those people and they create social media content, but they're also professionals. These guys are going to take care of me because I know that they're going to, in the ads, they look like they're just going to handle some business. They're going to take it out the right way. They're going to service me the right way. They're going to sell me what I need with a little bit of jazz in their ads, right?
Yeah.
And
I mean,
think
not everything has to always be hilarious either. I mean, you can do straightforward content. You can just do it well. I mean, one of the things we did with you was some of the employment stuff. We were trying to show a different side.
Yeah.
And so when we were looking at the employment side, I mean, we had it was a season for heartwarming and so, I mean, we've got you and, I got the job and we did the whole, I've got the job talking about, building a career inside of RTO. And so I felt like that was probably one of the best ones we've done.
Yeah.
And it was not hilarious, but it was really, really heartwarming.
I want you to know, I felt like Jim Carrey, right? I was doing all this comedy and then all of a sudden they're like, you got to do something serious. And I was like,
but I think it really, really went well.
Yeah, it did.
It went off well.
It did. And so
we scripted the crap out of that though. Yeah.
But, well, we're going to talk about ad lib very, very, very soon. But like, you did some acting yourself. Right?
Yeah.
You like what you're talking about. I mean, you've been able not only to say directing, producing, hey, this is what you want to embody. This is the emotion that we're coming from. This is the last scene. This is where I want you to look. This is what I want you to feel. But also you've had somebody tell you, hey, Steven, is
I've had a director, metaphorically shove his hand up my butt and move my mouth and move me around a stage. So I've
do this.
Yeah, absolutely.
So how is it that you use that because I can tell you what, when somebody comes up through the ranks, it's so much better. And rent home is just like that too. As you start as a driver, you get to collections, you get to sales, you get to run a store, you get, hired. That's what builds
get your own
it.
place someday. Yeah, hopefully.
So in acting and doing that and the directing, you know what it's like to be the guy in the back, the guy in the front. As a matter of fact,
I know what it's like to be the stage hand, not the stage manager, not the backstage manager, but the stage hand.
Hold this.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So you've seen it, you've done that. How does that help translate in making some of these videos that, let's say I come to you and you're like, man, I know from the bottom to the top. How beneficial is that?
Oh, it's been absolutely invaluable because understanding like from the logistics side of things to the execution, to the lighting, to the audio and all of those kind of things, each one has its own place in what you're doing. And each one is vitally important from even costume selection to script to, actor positioning and what we call blocking. So moving somebody around on purpose, and then not having people wander in a
over
screen.
there.
Exactly.
It was so much fun because I've never gone through makeup, thank God. But we did have a lot of changing and this is what you're going to wear and this is where you're going to stand.
I didn't put you in makeup because I felt like that might be too far for you. It is not because I did not look here. It is not because I didn't have a makeup bag in my car ready for to get at least put some powder on you. So, and Danny was shiny one day and we did get some powder on his face and I thought he was going to blow up. So, yeah,
I understand it. I understand it. I have no problem with that. But how does being in when you direct people, because, we have talked about people being in front of the, let's say, cell phone camera. I'm not going to, and I'm not taking away from that, but like, how important is it as you get into this, because time is money. As you go in there, you want to do as much pre-planning as possible, because once the filming's rolling, it costs.
Every second costs money. Yeah.
When you're looking at this talent, not only hopefully that they know a little bit of rent to own, how comfortable do they need to be in front of the camera?
I used to teach like drama classes to kids and stuff.
And he's a teacher.
Yeah. And so, but one of the things was, I used to tell kids all the time, well, I've told adults this too on plays and stuff that I've directed, but comedy is pretty much about one thing, and that's commitment. And so it's very much the same for everything else. If you're awkward in front of the camera, then the audience will be awkward for you. Like they will feel awkward about you. But if you are absolutely committed, like you'll see stuff like, there's guys who are just like, they're weirdly all in and they just are relentless. And because they're so all in, at some point of the day, you're just like, all right, at least he's about it, And so sometimes if you're allowing your voice to fall back because you're shy or you're not confident in what you're saying, it really does kind of jack with the video a lot. And so having really good planning up front, making sure that you know what you're going to say, know what you're going to talk about, make sure that you remove distractions as much as you can, how to focus on the subject. There's all kinds of stuff like that, but you can do that with a cell phone, but making sure that the person is like confident in what they're talking about or confident in what they're doing, even if it's ridiculous, is probably one of the most important things. I think comedy is about commitment.
I love the way you say that. Even if it's ridiculous, it's absolutely ridiculous.
It's important.
Follow through.
Yeah,
Make it happen.
Yes, follow through.
Follow through with it. If you're gonna be janky, just stay janky.
Yeah.
Okay?
Lean. Like people don't understand. Like lean in.
Right.
But a lot of times things take a second, third, fourth. I mean, in some cases, the 20th take. and a lot of people don't understand that. Like you're going to put this online and people are going to see it, and just shooting it quickly is not always
right.
It doesn't put your best foot forward. It doesn't give you the best look. And yet, I mean, even you guys out there who are just working with limited budgets and limited assets and resources, film it a second time, film it a third time, make sure they're confident in what they're saying, and then have a reason for talking. Don't, in the government, it was, we used to have a mantra, and it was be brief, be brilliant, be gone. So,
the triple B's. To the EssToo.
Absolutely. The triple B's to the EssToo. Yes.
But it's because I love what you're saying, because I've done it a couple of times myself, and so I have a rule of three. Yeah, you at least got to try certain things, and if it's important, 3 times. Now I'm not saying you can't have the one catch wonder, because it happens, but like,
oh no, sometimes you just nail it, and you're like, cut, print.
Hey, I don't want to do that.
The gate, moving on. Yeah, right. For sure.
I think Anthony Mackie one time used to say on one of the Avengers shows, like, cut the check. He was done, and cut the check, dude. You're not supposed to say that. You're not the director. He said, cut the check. I'm good. But as you do that, especially with a phone, if you haven't done it before, you're not getting in front of the camera, I would always say, do it and then look at it. Because sometimes you see things, you're like, oh my God, what am I looking at? What am I saying? Where am I standing? What's behind me? Like, I don't want that sofa behind me. It's that green that we got on sale. What I want to do is put the leather
or a
behind
weird
me.
sign that's out of date. And you're like, just take an extra 5 minutes, walk through the area of the video that you're shooting, and be like, oh, let's remove these things. Like if you've got like mops in the way, like maybe don't have those in the way. Like, maybe just, hey, Tim, can you take the mops? Like move the mops, so
move the mops, get it out.
Yeah.
So do you prefer being, because you know both sides, do you prefer being behind it or in front of the camera?
Oh, I like both. I don't know. I mean, I love the creative aspects of being behind the camera, directing, producing, writing. I love that. And it's kind of what EssToo Creative has become. And so I suppose if you're asking what I prefer, like professionally, I love what I do behind the camera, but actors are actors, man. We love the spotlight.
My God.
So if somebody's like, I'm ready for my close-up, Mr. DeMille, I am ready for my close-up.
I'm ready. All right, so we're gonna pivot to Anthony for a second. I know you're behind. Nobody sees anybody. Anthony, are you a front or behind the camera kind of guy?
Behind the camera.
Behind the camera.
Do you hear those glorious notes?
No, he's like,
you hear that deep.
I can't even do it. I can't even do it.
Behind the camera.
You know, the reason I say that is because I've actually seen you in action. I actually went to go see you, which I thought was freaking phenomenal. I loved it. And so I go in and I thought he was going to have a part. The part was the entire part. It was a whole thing. You were almost in like every scene that happened.
Oh, which one did you go see?
Like you were like the main guy, and then you were another. I can't remember. It was the one?
Oh, was it the one I changed characters?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like we call it the plot.
Yeah.
The plot.
It was.
It was like a murder mystery.
Yeah, it was
comedy.
everything.
Yeah.
And like every time I looked at him, he was just another guy. And dude,
yeah, huge shout out to the Missing Piece Theater Company out in Mango. They're phenomenal.
No, it was
sorry, not Mango,
Mulberry.
Yeah, Mulberry.
So it was great. It was good to see that. I was like, man, you know, because sometimes you always wonder, like, this guy's telling me what to do. Can you do it? Can you do that? And then he's like, yeah, I can. You know, I can tell you, I do it.
Yeah,
and
but in that one, I had
great.
April, and April was moving me around, so I was taking her orders for sure. April Golenbeck was the director out there. She's brilliant as a director.
I think that being able to do both sides is important.
Yeah,
you know, especially if you're trying to make videos for your store, if you're trying to get behind it, try before and after. If you're in front of it and it works, great. If you're behind it and you're better at camera positions and lighting and angles, that might be the position you want to take in order to get the guys to look a little bit better and your store to look a little bit better and represent a little bit better.
Let me do a quick note. If I can give some advice. So if you're out there and you're doing cell phone videos, people don't believe this, but audio is king. Audio is king. Make sure you invest a couple of bucks, and by a couple, I mean a few $100s. You can get it inexpensive, or you can get something from DJI or from Rode, RODE, right there, and that can plug directly into your phone and provide audio right up
like
close.
a lapel mic.
Yeah, like a lapel mic. Because if you are shooting and you've got all kinds of room noise and all kinds of other stuff and your voice is not isolated and it sounds like you've got a really bad echo, people will scroll away because the audio is so unattractive. People will endure fairly unattractive video if the audio is good.
You trying to say something about the way I record things. I'm just telling you. All right.
Yeah. No, I'm saying
That's an inside joke.
You do great work there, Pete. But if you're anyway, good audio.
And I agree with you. I
audio.
think I've said that on previous podcasts that, you know, you just have something that you can be heard clearly, because a lot of the times when I'm seeing somebody, you know, you can tell they're a room away, even the 8 feet. And I think what people don't understand is those cell phone mics are meant to be picked up from right here, you know, like right here. Like I'm talking to you, I'm either video chatting,
18
or I'm
inches.
talking. Yeah. But then if you
Maximum
go like
18 inches.
way out there, it's like you sound like you're a room away.
Seriously, if you take it beyond 18 inches, then I mean, you take it to a full arm's length, your audio just
now
turns
for my stubby arm people, hey, you're good, but like, you know, like me. But you got the long arm guys. There are guys out there that, you know.
Sorry, I mean, maybe I've got fairly long arms. My bad, dude. I'm sorry.
I'm just saying, you know, it is what it is. But yeah, and I agree with you. Yeah. You know, if you're heard clearly, if you have something to say, let that be heard.
Yeah,
because
say it.
There's so many times too where I have done something where I've put something down, and as long as I can hear it, as long as it can send me that message, whether it's through headphones because I'm busy or I'm driving, or I have to put it down because I'm doing something with my hands, I can't hold my phone up to me. At least I know what's going on in the scene.
100%.
Right.
Yeah.
So I love that idea. And I can say 100% that regardless of what's happening, put your heart into it. You know what I mean? Try to do the best you
Seriously,
can.
it's about commitment. Like, put your heart into, like, I think that's probably my big thing is I've run into people in our industry or you know, stuff, and they show up and they plonk down a camera and they scan a room or they put it on a slider and they just and then they pick up and they leave, and they're like, that'll be, you know,
whatever,
that'll be a few $1,000.
Yeah.
And I can't stand it. It creates in me like anger.
Sergeant EssToo is coming your way.
For sure. It creates a real frustration, because I'm like, if you're going to invest, like, get your money's worth. Like, have somebody show up and like move a camera around, talk to somebody, do dear God, do something, right? Like, you know, make your Make the money stretch, or
and
something.
I
You know what I'm
think
saying? Sorry, I don't want to. I don't
No,
want to.
but that's what we do for sales. Like, don't walk in and let somebody just come in and buy something. If you haven't given them experience, you're not taking care of your customers. Plain and simple. They have to feel it. If they don't feel it, what you did is transactional.
Yeah,
you know, you can go to
sure.
Walmart for transactional. I don't go there for the funny, fuzzy feeling. I go there because I want some chips.
Right.
And that's it. If I go somewhere that I'm going to spend some money and you're going to take care of me, we're going to have this 18-month, 2-year relationship where I'm going to see you all the time. And you're going to know me through my good times, my bad times. Get to know me a little bit, take a little time. And so what do you see? What are some of the biggest mistakes that you see when somebody is doing it? Is it the audio that the biggest mistake could be?
Again, if you want to categorize that, I think audio is probably one of the biggest mistakes that people make. I think not being well lit, like if I've got you guys, we're talking RTO, right? So move the damn couch. Right. Like if the couch is in front of a bright window and you're filming at noon and the sun is blowing through the window and you're like, well, it'll be weird, but everything in the background is completely blown out or too shiny, basically pure white. And then your guy is like practically, in shadow or black. And you're like, hey, this will be great. And I'm like, why are we like, why even hold the camera up? Let's move the couch or change the position of the talent so that they can be lit instead of shadowed, so that the background doesn't have to blow out. So, I mean, just small attention, like distractions inside the video, weird signs that are going to date the video if you're going to post it. And then for me, planning. Don't just show up and be like, we need to sell that Ashley love seat along with, maybe a coffee table. Everybody gets a bonus if you do that. Or I don't know how you guys do it, but
don't call us out like that, man. It's how it works. Okay. But
if they show up and they're just like, do that. And then somebody goes, cool, buy this with that, you'll save some money. Nobody's watching that video. I mean, I don't know. I don't care if you boost it. Nobody's watching that video.
Hey everyone, it's Pete Chow here from the RTO Show podcast, and I want to tell you about a company that's making a real difference in the rent-to-own space, Wow Brands. I've seen firsthand how they approach marketing. And let me tell you, it's not just about ads. Wow Brands builds complete digital ecosystems designed specifically for the rent-to-own industry. Their e-commerce and lead generation strategies are built to bring in qualified leads. And did I mention that they are actively working with the rent-to-own industry while also being members of APRO and TRIB? Listen, these folks are passionate problem solvers. They don't just slap something together. They design, build, and scale the kind of digital retail tools your business needs and your customers actually want. So if you're serious about growing, reach out to Wow Brands at wowbrands.com. I trust them, and I think you will too.
I love that you said that, because I think a lot of guys are like, well, you know what? If I boost it, somebody's going to watch it. No, it just means that it's going to be 3 or 4 seconds before somebody else scrolls.
They're just irritated with you that they had to wait.
Right? And it's funny because we're going to go back to Anthony a little bit. So Anthony's helped me out in another studio, and dude, I had your lights up that I got. I looked like it was in a baseball stadium. And he had to help me out because I'm like, there is lights.
Did you get him dialed in, Anthony?
Yeah, I got him dialed in.
There was some lights going on.
I was like, hey man, use some brightness control. Like these are tunable. They are not the highest end lights you can have.
Listen,
we weren't changing colors, but at least like put a diffuser in the front of it.
Yeah, get a light box.
Take a sheet of paper and just like diffuse that light a little bit.
We're talking about it. I swear to you that we're so bright I changed races for a little bit.
You became startlingly Caucasian.
I was a whole different
looking like me in the depths of winter.
It was just crazy, but but you're right though, because it makes a difference after we had dialed it in versus when we started. Complete different. You almost didn't recognize the same room.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So, and I have a problem with that. That's why I got somebody to help me out.
Spending some real effort, and Anthony's got to get paid too. So I'm sure Anthony made a couple bucks on it, but at the same time, he probably added great value.
Oh, absolutely.
To your ability to produce quality content, and so it's just worth it. A lot of people don't. They don't have a marketing budget, or the marketing budget. They're just like, how are we going to shove content and how are we going to shove product? And you just want to, marketing dollars are limited. And when times are hard, marketing dollars are really limited. And so you want to make sure that you're investing in the right ways, but you want to make sure you're focused and investing in specifically in ways that are going to stop people from scrolling and get them into your store. And if you can entertain them, engage them, make them laugh, make them feel good, then they give a positive feeling. So then when they pass a store, then
Well,
all of a sudden they're like, let's go check it out.
I'm glad you said that because that's really why I wanted to talk about this. Listen, we're talking about this in the Christmas season because next year seems it's going to be a little bit harder than this one. Now, when we came into this one, it was a boat anchor on the back of the boat. Now the boat ain't moving. This is just, every time that I read, there's more
There's a boat anchor on all the sides.
All the sides.
Yeah,
the engine just cut. There's a lot of people doing layoffs and, there's a lot of different things.
Yeah.
And so one of the budgets,
tough out there.
it is, especially when you have 1 or 2 store owners or any amount of stores. Like you said, the marketing budget comes up and it's very difficult because you're like, I gotta make payroll. I've got to order. I've got to keep the trucks on the road. What can I cut? And usually people look at the marketing budget and go, well, it can probably get stretched a little bit thinner. And I will say that
they'll cut training and they'll cut marketing, which are weird because if you want better employees and you want more customers, those are the two you don't cut.
Market. You don't market, you're going to die. And here's the thing, because as you go into it, right, you're going to say, well, I can cut the budget a little bit. And it's one of those things you never see it the day of. Yep. You always see it as a rotating. It's been 2-3 weeks. I can't tell why the customers aren't coming in. 2-3 months. This quarter hasn't been the same. 6 months and I'm comparing something to last year's numbers and I don't understand it. Well, you cut the marketing budget, right? So, as you go on, one of the great things I would love to say, and listen, your budget's better than I do. But what I would say is as you're going into it, the last guy standing is the last guy people are going to go to. Okay. And when you start grabbing market share that way, because your market starts shrinking, but you're the shiny star in a dark sea of everything's closing, it can help. It really can. And so take a little bit of your budget, whatever that might be. And listen, I would never say go all in, but you can find lights cheap. Like you said, you can get some of the off-brand or you can get some of the name brand. Like if you want to get Rode, great. I got some Rode. I don't even use them. But you can get some off-brand ones, something on the phone, something that connects. Do it 2 or 3 times. And dude, what does make it catchy? What is it? Because I see people rolling off their couch after somebody flipped on a dirt bike, or I feel somebody, saying something. And what is it?
So for me, sometimes it's not even, I'll do a shameless plug for EssToo Creative specifically, but sometimes it's not even having us come in and shoot video. Sometimes it's just having a creative come in and go, okay, what is it you want to do? All right, let's create a series of ideas that you can do on social media. Here's some stuff that you can do here, and here. Here's some trends that you can follow. And basically just come in for a few hours. It's not cheap, but at the same time, it's way cheaper than having somebody come out and do all of the work. Right. So if you're willing to come in and you want to build some stuff for a cell phone, but you're like, well, I like that stuff to be catchy, then let's sit down and let's talk about what that looks like. And let's build a plan for some posting schedules and let's get some content built. And then maybe you got a guy on your team that's, he's shooting music videos for a friend on the weekend, with his new iPhone 17 that he got, at the local RTO store. And he's like, okay, cool. And the next thing you're like, well, let's set you up with a MacBook and some easy editing software. NLEs, you can get DaVinci Resolve, not studio version, but you can get DaVinci Resolve, which covers almost everything out there for free.
Yeah.
So, there's some brilliant stuff available through Blackmagic and some other stuff that you can use even locally if you don't want to invest in it. And then usually you're like, hey, look at our social media content it's not hard, but it is incredibly difficult.
It is. Well,
does that make sense when I say that?
Going into the end, like I really want to know, now that a lot of people have cameras, right? A lot of people are podcasting. A lot of people are doing it. It's almost like the do-it-yourself time of
it really
being
is.
in video.
Yeah, it can be. It can be for sure. But the limits on you are always going to be, your idea.
Well, and that's what I'm getting at. Like, how much more? So a lot of people think, hey, if I'm cutting back from the marketing budget, I can do it myself. I can get behind a camera. I can say these things. I can buy lights. I can try to do this. There's got to be a reason why EssToo stays in business. There's a reason why Blue Box stays in business because you guys do a great job. What would you say to people who are like, I want to do a great job, but I want to be budget friendly? Like you have to draw that line somewhere because you have to know that this is only going to get you so far. Unless you really start investing on the cameras and the lights and the brainstorming that takes place in the second floor of someplace crazy. But
yeah, you can do things that are incredibly cinematic. and a lot of that is the equipment that you're using and the way that you edit it. And some of that is really, I mean, it's 20 something years of experience. I mean, like he's got great equipment here, but the great equipment isn't going to do him any good if he doesn't know what he's doing. So,
Exactly.
I mean, and I've seen some of the stuff and homeboy knows what he's doing.
Right,
So,
right.
I mean,
That's why we're here.
Yeah.
That's why we're here, Anthony. I'm just saying.
So the truth is, I mean, those awards that he's got on the mantle over there are not, those are not flippant awards. He's received recognition for hard work.
You didn't
well
get that
done.
off of Etsy, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. He wasn't able to buy that from eBay, hey, $62 for,
Right. Looks good.
for some awards.
So I'm going to get into some rapid fire questions real quick. We're coming into the end, and I want to know a couple things.
All right.
Favorite piece of equipment you can't work without?
I have a Sony Alpha 1, and I swear by it. I love it.
You do. I will agree with that.
Yeah. I swear by my Sony Alpha 1. You talking about non-camera equipment or
no, whatever, whatever
okay.
that's your.
Yeah, my Sony Alpha 1. It's my run and gun. I love it. I should get an FX3 or an FX6 and put that as my primary, but I love my Alpha 1.
I swear to you, if I knew that I went to his house and there was a crate with one of those pillows inside that and there was there with a.
I do have it in a crate with the pillows inside. It's in a Nanook 980 and a rolling top back, and it's got lenses. And
How
all
did
kinds
I
of
know?
stuff. Yeah,
I'm just saying.
And it does creak. I need to get some.
No, that's the ambiance of it. That's the ambiance of it. Best advice you ever received about video production? Pete will do it.
Yeah, almost Pete will do it. Best advice I've ever received about video production: plan the shot better.
Plan the shot.
Yeah, plan the shot.
Don't let this guy in the way.
Don't just wing it. Don't wing the shot. Yeah, plan the shot.
If you've ever watched the other Taxman that we did, wow. That was fun. That was fun.
was a lot of fun.
You'd probably be like, how did you guys let this guy be the main actor?
You talking about the one where we put you in the costume?
The green
costume? That was a lot of fun.
That was hilarious.
Yeah, we planned every one of those shots. Yeah,
We did.
Yeah.
It didn't look like it, but we did because Pete was crazy. If someone is listening and thinking about working with you, what should they know?
I mean, I really care about my customers. I really care about my clients. I try to know what they know. It takes time, but I care about the people I work with. I don't work with everybody. So,
I like that though.
Yeah.
I like that though, because you have to know this just isn't going to work. Yeah. This is just not going to work.
Sometimes somebody's asking for something and you're just like, this is not going to work. So,
well, I'm going to throw you an easy softball here.
Okay.
Where can people reach you? Where can they find you at?
Oh yeah. They can find me at EssTooCreative.com. So
listen guys, if you guys want to get booked up this holiday season, buy yourself a gift. Get hooked up with EssToo Creative. Steven Stahl is going to take care of you. Listen, whether you need ideas, whether you need him to come out and do it, whether you need something for your brand, whether it's going to be small budget, big budget, he can help you either put it together mentally or put it together physically, which is why I love you. Because, dude, we've done some crazy things together. If you guys want to see some stuff that we've done, go to YouTube, look up EssToo Creative, go to that channel, and then go down to the videos, and wow, you're going to see some stuff. You can also hit me up and at Pete at the RTO Show podcast.com. Hit me up in the emails and tell me what you think about this particular one here, because I want to know how Steven did. I'm just kidding.
I'd like to know how I did too. I'm usually never on this side. I'm usually where he is and trying to use my deepest voice.
Oh God, he's got the. Jeez, man, I feel like I'm going to pay you on a 1-800 number every time you say.
Listen to those milky bass notes there. Yeah.
Right?
I say I have a face for radio.
My mama said the same thing about me, dude.
We all do. I'm not going to lie. If you want to hit us up on the website, go to www.thertoshowpodcast.com. Listen, take a look at some stuff on there. You can see what I'm doing now. You can see what we've gotten into in the past, me and Steve, and you can see what's going on in the future with some of the things I have on the calendar. You can also hit me up at the DMs on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, and YouTube, where you're going to see this. Steve, my man, it's been a pleasure having you on. I love talking to you. Listen, this green room is probably going to last forever, but I love having you on and just all the insights and the things that we talk about, because we're going to probably get into more shenanigans in the future. I want to see you guys there.
Yeah,
Steven,
we'll have to do it again, man.
We do. Listen, guys, have a great Christmas. Enjoy your family. And I will tell you guys, as always, get your collections low to get your sales high. Have a great one.